I'm convinced that this was something from another world.
All fingers pointed to the mysterious young woman. Her allegation was inconceivable.
I think actually together we're bigger than two because we're so close, we're so related.
From the boundaries of the universe to the depth of your soul, embark on a journey through the unknown and unexplained as we explore mysteries, magic, and miracles. Hello and welcome. This is Patrick McNee. Today we'll look at an unsolved piece of Russian history. Will the real Anastasia please stand up? And we'll look into the uncanny connection between twins. But right now, let's unravel another mystery found in the heart of Oregon. The state of Oregon has been the site of many strange happenings. Reports of monsters in Crater Lake, the 1909 Portland poltergeist outbreak, Bigfoot seen in Tillamook. Well, we've discovered yet another mystery here. Let's take a look. Experts seem to agree that UFO sightings center around certain areas for a few years, and then the focus moves on to new places. Over the last few years, the hottest spot for UFOs seemed to be Mexico, where, according to UFO magazine, thousands of sightings were reported, and some were caught on film and video by astonished onlookers. Now it appears that the best place to spot a UFO might be Central Oregon. So far this year, we've heard of many sightings there. Volcanoes are an attraction for UFOs, according to researchers. They hypothesize that the ships in some way use the Earth's geothermal energy, which remains in local hotspots, long after the volcano cools. Central Mexico and Central Oregon have had a great deal of relatively recent volcanic activity. The landscape of America's Northwest is dominated by many solitary volcanic peaks over 10,000 feet. In Central Oregon, several of these majestic mountains are clustered together. It is also the part of the range that underwent the most recent volcanic activity. And it is this area, around the peaks, called the Three Sisters, that has reported the largest amount of recent UFO sightings. In the 1840s, these three volcanic mountains were named Faith, Hope, and Charity by the local Methodist camp. They later became known collectively as the Three Sisters. The U.S. Forest Service has designated the vast remote area the Three Sisters Wilderness Area. Open only to hikers, it's a place that has very little human disturbance. Most commonly, UFO reports involve a single passing or hovering ship in the air. But we were recently contacted by a backpacker who had the incredible experience of seeing several ships together on the ground. Now here is her amazing story.
Well, it was spring, and it was just starting to warm up, and I thought I'd take a hike for a couple of days out in the Three Sisters. I hiked in about 3 hours, and I got to a place where there were some great rock formations. I thought I'd camp there so I could hike around in the rocks in the next morning. I put my tent up on this kind of butte where I had this fantastic view. Then, I don't know, I think it was about 3 in the morning, I woke up because there was this bright light shining in through the tent. It was really, really weird. I couldn't imagine what it could be. I looked outside and I couldn't believe it. Down below, at the base of those huge rocks, I saw 3 circular objects. They were really bright, lighting up the whole area. It was the strangest thing I ever saw. I remember thinking, nobody is ever going to believe this. Then I saw a 4th one, and it actually was in the air, kind of hovering, and it started to land with the other ones. I was totally amazed. I started to feel very strange, like very weak all of a sudden. I'm not sure what happened then. All I know is I woke up outside the tent on the ground. I looked down there and there was nothing anywhere. I never sleepwalked in my life. I knew what I'd seen was real. I had to go down there and look around. There weren't that many trees in there with all the rocks, but the ones that were there were all charred. And there were these powdery ashes scattered around. I'm not one of those people that goes looking around for UFOs, but I'm convinced that this was something from another world.
But the story doesn't end there. Only days later, photographs and videos were taken in the area showing UFOs strikingly similar to those described by Karen. This shot was snapped by a local woman from her back porch, who can see 2 of the 3 Sisters peaks in the background. And this photo was taken by a tourist as he stood at a viewpoint area overlooking Bend. And this dramatic picture was captured on the night of May the 6th near the town of Sisters, Oregon. Extraordinary. But possibly the most interesting of all is this home video footage shot by a Los Angeles tourist, Jeff Kendall. When it's played back in slow motion, it's quite incredible. Are UFOs now focusing on Oregon because they have work to do there? Or is it just trendy for now? Either way, Oregonians keep a close eye on the sky.
All fingers pointed to the mysterious young woman. Her allegation was inconceivable.
I think actually together we're bigger than 2 because we're so close, we're so related.
A Russian princess, a bloody murder, and a missing body. It's not a movie or a best-selling novel, but a continuing real-life drama.
Imagine being torn from the only life you know, a life of royalty, and thrown into a world of suspicion with no identity.
Berlin, Germany. On the morning of February 17, 1920, a young woman jumped off a bridge into the cold waters of a canal. Saved by a police sergeant, she was admitted to a hospital. No papers of identification could be found on her, and she refused to speak to anyone. In a city overrun by refugees and homeless war victims, this incident went unnoticed, just another suicide attempt by a despairing citizen.
Eventually taken to a mental hospital, it was discovered she suffered severe physical violence at some time in her unknown past. This secretive silence lasted until one day in March 1922. A Russian refugee admitted to the hospital at the same time thought she recognized a member of the imperial family of Russia among the patients.
All fingers pointed to the mysterious young woman. After 2 months of questioning, she finally broke down and admitted she was Grand Duchess Anastasia, daughter of Tsar Nicholas II, the last ruler of Russia. Her allegation was inconceivable because official reports showed the entire imperial family was killed in a hail of Bolshevik bullets in the summer of 1918. The story became a spectacle, and the young patient, who was given the name Anna Anderson, entered a glare of publicity which surrounded her the rest of her life. Investigations into the imperial execution followed. The last known trace of Anastasia and her family filtered out from the town of Katerinburg, Russia. They were taken there as prisoners following the violent revolution in 1917. For weeks, the family lived in appalling circumstances. The Tsar and Tsarina, 4 daughters, and a son, Alexis. A far cry from the splendor the Romanovs were used to. One night, the family was unexpectedly taken away. In the days following the Romanovs' disappearance, there were rumors that the entire family had been put up against the wall and shot dead. The massacre was intended to establish Lenin's dictatorship. Most Russians, as the rest of the world, believed that the imperial family was dead. But there were the people who didn't believe it. They said Lenin had good reason to keep a few of the family members alive as possible trump cards in the international diplomatic game. The imperial family was closely related to most of the royal families in Europe. There were even suggestions that the Tsarina and her daughters were taken away to a different town where they were imprisoned for months.
It was only in 1979 that a shocking discovery was made. Crushed skeletons were found in a hole near Katerinburg.
Forensic experts confirmed they had positively identified the bodies of the Tsar and Tsarina and their 3 eldest children, Olga, Maria, and Tatiana. But then the mystery intensified. Anastasia's body was not among her family, and neither was Alexei, the young son. This brings us back to Anna Anderson, who claimed to be the surviving Anastasia. Over the years, several royal relatives of the Romanovs took interest in finding the truth behind Anastasia. Some of them believed the young Anna Anderson. Others thought her to be a fraud. Among those who were determined to expose the impostor was a childhood friend of the imperial children. But when she saw Anna, she immediately recognized her as Grand Duchess Anastasia. All of this resulted in the longest court case of the 20th century. It ran on and off from 1938 until 1970. The legal wrangle began with the immense fortune Tsar Nicholas II left behind. Surely a survivor was to inherit it. But first the court needed proof for the existence of such a survivor. Over the years, a few other women came forward and claimed to be the missing Anastasia, but they were quickly unmasked. Although Anna Anderson claimed to be Anastasia, she never willingly became involved in the court case, and she also never demanded the inheritance due to the Grand Duchess Anastasia.
Her life story is an intriguing one, even if she weren't the real Anastasia. One fact does remain. Her knowledge of the Romanovs and the imperial secrets was phenomenal. Even Hollywood was fascinated. With 2 films and a television series, Anna's life was captured on the screen. In real life, however, it was a lot more complicated.
A decision was never reached in the legal battle, and even though it was never proven that Anna Anderson was Grand Duchess Anastasia, it was also never dismissed as a possibility. A controversial mystery, and certainly a sad one that could never be solved. But now that Anna Anderson is dead, perhaps Grand Duchess Anastasia's soul has finally gone to rest.
I think actually together we're bigger than 2 because we're so close, we're so related.
There is an ongoing fascination with the human psyche. But there is one group in particular that makes an intriguing study, still surrounded by legends and superstitions. Twins are a mystery, set apart from the rest of us by Mother Nature.
Have you ever had somebody come up to you thinking you were somebody else? Fascination with twins never abates. So, why is twinship so compelling? The image of a pair of people, either identical or fraternal, gives us a sense of comfort. We think in terms of duality.
Most people tried to make us the same identity. It was easier for people to accept or deal with us, relate to us as one. I definitely have a dual, a single character, an individual kind of character, but it's, I can't really tell you where one starts and the other drops off.
The concept of opposites like yin and yang, black and white, and good and evil are ideas we easily grasp. In fact, politicians have figured this out and use it to their advantage. Our beliefs about twins have been built up through the ages and are deeply embedded in every society. From primitive to modern times, twins have been either feared or revered. For identical twins Gordon and Gavin Grayson, discovering separate identities is a lifelong practice.
We look the same, we act the same, we have a lot of the same interests. Our friends were the same.
We take on a lot of the characteristics of the other when we're alone. When we are together, we tend to our differences are more apparent.
The most impenetrable myth, that of the good versus evil twin, has been perpetuated more in fiction than reality. The Jekyll versus Hyde syndrome has been a destructive myth many twins have had to conquer.
Gavin is probably more outgoing, a little more sociable. I'd say I'm a little more introspective and a little more thoughtful.
I have been considered the wilder one with brighter taste in clothes, that sort of thing. And my brother will go shopping, for instance, and buy a shirt that, say, hey, you'll like this shirt, and it'll be a wild, multicolored affair that I would never wear. But that's his perception of me as being the more outgoing and the more, audacious one.
At one time or another, many of us have wondered, do we all have a twin somewhere else in the world? For some, that thought has become a reality, proving the power of nature over nurture. Twins who have found each other have discovered amazing similarities. They excelled in the same courses, had the same amount of children, named their children the same names, married spouses with the same names, had the same experiences, and sometimes even chose the same careers. Most of all, they felt a sixth sense connection with someone else.
We complement each other very well. We are complete opposites in some ways, but that generally fills in the gaps. I mean, we're a great team. I think if we both apply ourselves to the same goal, there's not too many individuals who can compete, because there's two of us. I mean, it's two on one. And I think actually together we're bigger than two because we're so close, we're so related.
If I'm faster than him on a bike, then I'm trying to pull him with me. And I want to beat him, but I also want him to be faster. So it just really depends on the level of analysis. We are competing against each other, but overall, in the large scheme of things, we are a team.
Many of us may be twins without even knowing it. A still mysterious phenomenon, the vanishing twin, happens when a woman through sonogram is found to be carrying twins. But as the pregnancy progresses, the second embryo just disappears. Research indicates that 20 to 40% of twin gestations are reabsorbed by the body during pregnancy. Some kinds of twins are such a rarity that they have been exhibited as a spectacle. Chang and Eng, conjoined twins from the country of Siam, were on public display for 12 years. Thereafter, any similar twins were known as Siamese twins. Johnny Eck was a unique twin born with an undeveloped lower half of the body, although his brother was normal size. His singularity brought him fame, beginning as a star attraction with P.T. Barnum's Circus, then later playing in a movie called Freaks, about a traveling sideshow. Who are famous celebrity twins? Not many people know that Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, had a twin who died at birth. Rebel actor Montgomery Clift was a twin. Gossip columnist Ann Landers and advice columnist Abigail Dear Abby Van Buren, famous for their quarrels, are also twins.
We were very close. We went to the same Ranger battalion, the same unit in the Army, and we lived, on separate sides of the same quad. Our little joke is that we would have died on the same mountain, on a different side of it if we ever went to war.
I talk about my brother a lot. I'm proud of him, and he's a large part of my life. So I'd say that, he's here, he's around even if he's 100 miles away.
With so many unanswered questions and mysteries surrounding twins, it's likely popular interest will never wane.
While identical twins may be a rare phenomenon, the birth of twins of different colors is almost unheard of. Well, in 1978, a West German woman filed a double paternity suit against a white German soldier and a black American soldier. She claimed she ovulated twice in the same day, producing twin boys, one black and one white. There seems to be a new mystery to uncover everywhere. This is Patrick McNee. Join me next time for more mysteries, magic, and miracles.